right, I'm going to call our meeting to order. HHS for March 1st. Roll call.
I've got a really good one.
Okay, Chair Renahan.
Here.
Vice Chair Swarzy.
Here.
Member Solomon.
Here.
Member Chaplin.
Here.
Member Desart. Member LaPlante.
And I'm also, there's been a request to allow remote participation from member LaPlante. So under our Open Meetings Act, due to employment, I'll take a motion
So
to
moved.
include her via Zoom. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Member LaPlante, welcome in. Do we have any public comment?
No public comment.
Okay. In terms of report, I'm just looking forward to what Janelle has to say today, talking about the Care Center strategic plan. We know a lot of exciting things are going to be going on over there. And I think I like that our committee is always the first in and we get to be the storytellers for what's going on at the Care Center. So approval of minutes, I'll take a motion to approve the February 15th at the HHS.
So moved.
minutes.
Second.
Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those are approved. Take a motion to approve HHS R 116-22 resolution recommendation for approval of a partial release deed, partial release.
Second.
Land use restriction agreement, consent for temporary construction easement between DuPage County and Prairie Green Habitat, project HM11-01 for Prairie Green subdivision. Improve the intersection of Illinois 56 and Illinois 53 in DuPage County, authorizing Director of Community Services to execute said documents. We have the motion, we have a second. Questions, comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved. Take a motion to approve FIR 117-22, acceptance
So
and
moved.
appropriation of state cares pandemic related stability payments program for the Care Center, $231,572.
Second.
A motion and a second. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Take a motion on FIR 118-22, acceptance appropriation of state cares
So moved.
pandemic related stability grant, also for the Care Center, $345,000. Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to Veterans Assistance Commission. Hello, Steve Fixler.
There he is.
I am here.
Hi there. So we have one item for the Veterans Assistance Commission. I'll take a motion to approve change order HHSP
So moved.
250A-20 amendment for resolution HHSP 250-20 issued to DuPage Suburban Bus Services. This is to provide transportation services for DuPage County veterans October 1st, 2020 through November 30th, 2021, with an increase of 18.22%. And that's $8,324.80.
Second.
Motion, second. Questions, comments? Steve, anything you want to tell us about this in particular?
Yeah, so we went from a procurement contract to intergovernmental agreement with them. But the big thing is that we're trying to get our pay period in line with the county's fiscal year pay periods. Okay. So I'm working with finance, Michelle and Jennifer on that and everything. And so we got to do a couple, I have to close out the next order and everything like that. So I'm gonna have to go through, I think, at least one more time with you guys to close out everything, all the old stuff, and then we'll be ready for the new stuff. Does that make sense and everything?
Yeah, changing your, yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, we're not online to pay our bills with the fiscal year with the county. That's been since I've been here. So we're getting online with our pay periods, with the county pay periods, and the PACE pay periods as best as we can. That's why we're going through this right now. So I have to close out the purchase order eventually, and then we work with the new stuff. Does that make sense?
It does make a lot of sense. Why did it take so long?
I don't know. It just took a while to finally go through all this.
That's
And
easy.
everything.
All right. Well, thanks for all you do, Steve, and taking care of our veterans. We all support that very strongly. So we had any other comments or on this item? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thanks very much.
All right, I'm gone.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Somehow.
We have one travel request. I'll take a motion to approve overnight travel for weatherization assessor to attend HVAC diagnostic refresher course in Champaign, April 5th, 2022 through April 8th, 2022, $997.60. We had a motion, yes. A second?
Yes.
Okay. Questions, comments here? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved. We do not have any residency waivers somewhere, Karen.
No residency waiver.
Okay, with that, I will turn it over to Janelle Chadwick. She's going to give us an update and also the 2022 strategic plan. Hi, Janelle.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. The big news of the day is that yesterday, February 28th, we finally left outbreak status. It's a 28-day process with no positives. So now we will be able to begin looking at some structured dining in the dining room and some group activities. So the residents are pretty excited. Spring's coming. We hope we can get out and do some planting in that garden. So this is the first step in the process. So keep your fingers crossed. We don't have any positive cases, so we don't have to go through a whole nother 28 days. So that's the good news there. Any questions related to COVID before I present the plan?
Member Sullivan.
Thanks. So we know obviously the mask mandate was lifted in a bunch of different places yesterday. How is that affecting you? Do you have any concerns about that, or you're good with your plan?
I really don't. We are a healthcare entity, and we definitely would be considered to extend that mask mandate until we hear further. Yeah, I don't anticipate that's going away for us anytime soon.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else? Any other questions for Janelle? All right, go ahead.
Okay, so you have a copy of the DuPage Care Center strategic plan. I presented this and talked about it with my team leaders so that they're included. I will discuss it with you, and then I've shared tidbits of it with our executive resident council. We have a resident council that's pretty large, but then we also have an executive resident council that's approximately 10 to 13 residents that we meet with on a monthly basis. And then we also have a family committee that's been meeting very staggered throughout COVID. So we'll get that back up and running. So we will be sharing this with them as well. I just included the county 5 central imperatives just as a reminder. I also included our 2020 strategic plan. Obviously that was pre-COVID. We didn't really have a lot of things put into 21 strategic plan other than to keep everybody alive and safe. So the 2022 strategic plan, I have 6 initiatives because it was just real hard for me to roll it into 5, especially with the project. So I'm just going to walk through these, and then if you have questions, feel free to ask. So quality of life, obviously our initiative is to continue that strong COVID response, to comply with the guidance, and to respond to protect the residents and staff of the care center. Quality of life initiative just to maintain a 4 to 5 star quality measure on the delivery of high quality care. We've been pretty successful there. There's many metrics that we're measured on based on submissions of what's called MDS, very specific resident data. And so those are inserted into a system that CMS reviews and then determines our quality metrics. So of a 5 star, we run between a 4 and a 5 star consistently there. So we've been pretty successful. That requires a lot of oversight and a lot of work on our MDS staff, but then also a focus on that quality improvement, quality assurance, performance improvement, and that planned use study act or PDSA process, and continuous cycles of improvement. So identifying a problem, reviewing it, putting a plan in place, and measure it. And so that's something that in healthcare, especially here at the care center, we do a lot. That root cause process, it's all about, you're never done with quality improvement. That will never be done. We have always a lot to bite off and tackle. And so the team is very well versed in that process. So that helps us achieve this 4 and 5 star rating. Quality of life is to remain a safety net for community and county for the indigent, senior, and disabled population. We've been maintaining a 70% of our occupancy for Medicaid, and that's part of that strategic plan initiative. Quality of life and financial planning. This is, I wasn't sure, it's kind of a financial planning, and it certainly is a quality of life. So this is to work collaboratively with our FM department and our project architects, construction manager to establish the initial plans to move the ARPA project forward for the care center. The scope of work obviously is very large. We're at the point of going on some site visits. We're planning to go on some site visits to look at what we like and what we don't like, as far as resident rooms and shower rooms and things of that nature. So we're planning that right now. I would say that when we put forth the next step, we're very fast to act on it. And my whole premise to this is to anywhere we can hurry, we should hurry, because we might need more time later with IDPH approvals and things like that we're at their mercy. So that's where we're at that process, and I will continue to come to the committee with all that exciting news. Financial planning is to continue to meet the expense budget while appropriately allocating COVID expenses. We need to continue to seek revenue replacement, because I want to stress again, we went over 18 months without really accepting admissions or being able to accept admissions because of our outbreak status. We are accepting admissions now. However, it's going to take quite a long time. We're about 90 residents down from our prior level, which a lot of facilities lost, and then about 70% there, especially smaller buildings, were hit hard. So we got a lot of ground to cover, and that was not something foreseeable or controllable, but now we have to try and push to build that census wherever possible and increase the revenue and decrease the negative revenue variance. Customer service is to continue to monitor, manage levels of satisfaction of our stakeholders. And I briefly mentioned this. So it's resident, patients, families, and volunteers. So I talked about the resident executive council that we hold, and that we initiated a couple years, probably 3 years ago, a family committee. And that's been very beneficial and appreciate. The families really appreciate that, because then they are able to speak to other family members and be a storyteller and an advocate and bring concerns forward. It's great to have their perspective. So that is our 2022 strategic plan. Does anyone have comments, questions?
Vice Chair Shorzy.
Thank you, Janelle. It looks perfect. With one thing I'm hoping maybe we can add, under customer service. First of all, I know you have such a high regard for the well-being of your staff. It'd be nice just to see it a little bit in writing, maybe under customer service. You have the initiative to continue to monitor and manage levels of satisfaction of stakeholders.
Right.
With the IEs, maybe throw the staff in that little
Sure.
IE, residents, patients, families, volunteers, and staff.
Obviously, with the work we've done over the last few years, everyone knows that the staff is
Yes.
probably a larger priority than this category. But thank you. We'll insert that.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the committee? I say anybody who can do a strategic plan in like 10 minutes. I mean, Janelle, wow, very impressive. But thanks for all you do. I think, we're all very, interested in like the next steps, and we promise
Yes.
we will not be trying to tell you how to decorate.
Right.
Right. We do not need the HHS committee for that, but
I already looked up the 2022 trend of colors, and I don't think those are the colors we want to go with. I think they're going to be very short-lived. So we'll do neutrals and then add accents that can be changed out. Durability is key. So
you deserve all the fun parts. So all right, great. Anything
thank you.
else? Okay, great. Thank you. Moving on to community services update, Mary Keating.
Good morning. I have a couple things this morning. First, I just wanted to share with you, and I will send you all the full report, but I just wanted to share with you the results of our 2021 client satisfaction survey. We had about 528 responses. I think that's the total. It's down from what we've done in the past because we didn't have people in the building, and usually we would hand cards out. But we still have a very high satisfaction rate, 94.4%. Satisfied with the services that they got from our staff. The highest category actually was I was treated with respect at a 98%, which I think is really great. The one area that so all of the other questions, was the information useful? Was the staff knowledgeable? All of that is in the 90s. I got information on other services, I think was the one where we got about 75%. I was informed about other agencies or community services was 74%. I think I'd like Gina's staff to maybe break that out. We have a lot of responses from the Family Center, because those folks have been in person, and actually the staff at the Family Center wants you all to know that Family Center staff have been in person for the last 2 years. So so those folks are coming for really a different type of service than folks who come for senior services or liking for that kind of thing. So I'm guessing that that's where that's skewed, but it certainly doesn't mean that we can't do a better job of making sure the folks who are at the Family Center are connected to anything that they need. So I will send you this full report, but kudos to the whole staff. I think, it's been such a challenging year. And I think especially the questions about how our customers are being treated. Our staff has been under so much pressure. Everyone's had personal and professional challenges the last 2 years. So I'm really proud of that work. I will give you a very brief description of what Community Services is doing in terms of the strategic initiatives. I basically just put 2 strategic initiatives in this year, and they are both massive projects that you'll be involved in and aware of every step of the way. The first is the launch of 211, and the second is the Community Transformation Partnership with DuPage Foundation. I think those are really the sort of the giant initiatives that we'll be working on in 2022. And like I said, we'll be every step of the way. You will all be involved in that. Speaking of 211, we are hopeful that I think we will be bringing the intergovernmental agreement with the Addison Consolidated Dispatch Center forward at the next finance and board meeting. So what the plan that we've worked out with Member Renahan is that we'll do an update at the next HHS meeting. We also talked about the meeting after that. I'd like to really highlight the work of the Family Center. Because of COVID, there's certainly new members who've never been over there and really haven't had an opportunity to learn more about what we do. So, and last, certainly not the least of the reasons, is that Sheila Murphy-Russell, who has run the Family Center since its inception, will be retiring at the end of May. And so I really want to make sure that you all have an opportunity to meet Sheila. And she's so incredibly proud of the work that she's accomplished over there. And so I want to make sure that we have an opportunity. So what I think we'll do is Sheila will do a presentation in early April at HHS, and then we'll also figure out a time that would work for folks to actually go over and see the building. Also coming up somewhere in the spring, I'd like to bring you all up to speed on the work of our continuum of care. If you probably heard about the one night count, the point in time count that happens at the end of January, so we can kind of give you an update on that and the other work of the continuum. I think that's all I have.
All right, Member Solomon?
Just really briefly, is there anything notable in the court eviction process? I think every update we've got from you is it's going swimmingly. And
yeah, we continue to rock it in terms of the names of people who are or the number of households that are being assisted. We're far and above all other counties. I think we're at 130, 140 was the last number that I saw. And I think the next highest county is well below 100. So yeah, the last I saw, it's about $1.6 million in rent assistance that's been provided to folks who were going through the eviction process. So whether that means they were, in most cases, I hope that the eviction was stayed. In other cases, sometimes just because that landlord-tenant relationship has become really severed, and so, but it's helpful to pay that back rent, so then that individual can kind of have a clean start. They don't have an eviction on their record, so that's can be just as helpful as actually helping them remain in the unit. So.
Mary, what about assistance on the mortgage program that the state was going to get going? What's the latest?
I saw a press release. I don't know if they announced the actual date. Yeah, IDA is running that program because it's going directly to the states. There was not an allocation to local governments like there was with the emergency rent assistance. I saw a press release from the governor's office maybe a week ago, but it did not, as I recall, it did not have a specific date. It said that it's coming up in the spring. So I know when I've spoken to the IDA people, I think they were trying to shoot for March, but I can find out that information.
Yeah, I know I've been asked. I mean, people are excited about the rental assistance, but they say, yeah, what about my mortgage? So
yeah, I think my understanding is that the mortgage assistance program is exceptionally more complex in terms of, all the lender relationship and, is there any sort of homeowner counseling and have there been, what do you call it, not deferrals? Forbearance, yeah, folks have gone through forbearance and that kind of thing. So I think it was a much more challenging. Plus, Treasury, the U.S. Department of Treasury actually had to approve IDA's plan. So they had to come up with their plan, submit it to the federal government for approval, and then wait back for that approval. So that was another nuance of that mortgage program. So, but I can reach out and see if they've gotten any closer to announcing a date. But I know they're working on it.
All right, sounds good. Questions, anybody else for Mary? I just want to say congratulations, 94%, 94.4% is great. And as we know, people, when they're coming to community services, maybe they're not at the top of their game. And, it just needs to be said. And special shout out to the Family Center who was there for 2 years. So we see you, we thank you, and thanks to all your team, Mary.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. All right, any old business? Yes, Member Sullivan.
Just to follow up on the rental program, I would think there's probably a point at which there's a good review process. I think we're probably a few months out from that, but I wonder if either this committee or maybe JPS, obviously that would be up to you, decide sort of just give us the whole board. I think that's something we really are all
On the rental systems?
Yeah, like once you get maybe 6-9 months or something. Yeah.
Specifically? Okay.
Yeah. So up to you on timing and all that, but I think that might be something the whole board can do.
All right, anybody else, old business? All right, any new business? All right, so with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye. All right, thanks, everyone. Thank you.